Hello everybody, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with ReZero on episode 13, and in the last episode we went back to the sort of capital, into the city, and got introduced to the girls who are in line to take the throne and become priestesses, not queens, which is strange, considering it's supposed to be like a place in the royal family, or like to hold a title in the royal family. That's generally you would be called the queen and not the priestess, but apparently it is a priestess, and that puts you into a covenant with the dragon, and I guess that is what signifies and sort of like makes your title as part of the royal family concrete, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Roswell's wanting to kill it anyway, so I don't know what that does. I mean, I'm wondering if he's wanting to get rid of like the whole monarchy system, and I don't know. But yeah, so there was four to begin with. There's supposed to be five. Obviously, Reinhard would wait till the end to make it dramatic, and introduced Felt as the fifth one, apparently, because she has a claim to the throne as well. I mean, I thought in order to have a claim to the throne, you had to have like that fucking insignia thing, right? And wasn't Felt one to steal Amelia's? So does she have her own? I guess maybe the Astrias were holding on to it and maybe looking for her, or this is sort of like maybe a shoehorned in kind of deal with like similar to Attack on Titan and Ymir, where like they kind of it's sort of like a placeholder person. I don't know, but yeah. So yeah, there's that whole thing going down, and I don't know how they're going to choose between the lot of them. I'm wondering if it's going to be a whole thing of like, I mean, because I did say at the beginning of the last episode before I watched it, I was like, I feel like there's got to be a death coming up soon, considering that's like the kind of gimmick of the show. I'm wondering if there's going to be this point. Like this is the point in which he goes back and dies a lot of the time. Like maybe like they keep choosing everyone other than Amelia, so he keeps dying in order to get Amelia to be the choice, right? I feel like that's probably what he's doing. So I can feel like that's probably the way it's going to go, but yeah, we'll see. But Reinhard backs Feld, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to get in episode 13, so we'll go from here. So let's go. Okay, episode 13. Right. So from the top, right? So Feld didn't know any like. It seemed like Felt wasn't even she wasn't like brought up to date on exactly what was happening, and that's seemingly the case. She was brought in and then immediately went to attack Reinhard because she was like, you know what I mean, what the hell's all this about? Dress me up in this and then like, you know, make me show up here. But she did turn around in the end. So apparently the insignia is a dragon gem or a dragon stone or whatever, and only glows in the like when a person's holding it, if they are worthy, I guess, to be a priestess. I don't know what's with Julius. He backs Anastasia, but still has a thing for Amelia. I don't know. You'd think that would kind of just stay. He would stay, like, you know, backing Anastasia, and that was it. But I'd no, whatever. Krush Karsten, I don't know how the hell you pronounce that. Karsten. She wants to remove sort of like the whole idea behind the covenant with the dragon, because I guess there's something with the dragon who, you know, the royal family is sort of like a figurehead for the dragon. I feel like that's what's happening now, and that's what it is. Like, the dragon's the one that really has the power. So, yeah, so she wants to sort of get rid of that and remove that. So I guess that's sort of in line with what Roswell wants to do then. You know, aside from the fact that Roswell wants to actually kill the dragon, I guess, whereas Carson just wants to remove that sort of stigma with it. But yeah, yeah, Anastasia, she just yeah, she wants everything. No matter how much money I get, I will never be satisfied. Like, You know what I mean? How did these people get chosen? I don't understand. I don't know if they have to be some kind of bloodline in order to... It doesn't seem that way. In order to be worthy of being like a member of the royal family. I just don't... How did they get chosen? Like, how do they become worthy? And then how do they get chosen? Like who decides who chooses them? Because when you're looking at it, clearly, Priscilla and Anastasia... why would anybody want to put them in power? Yeah, let's just put these fucking self-absorbed fucking, you know, up their own asses people in power. Great idea. I want to know how that's chosen, because that's... they are clearly just not right for it. Yeah. Also, there's the whole thing with Subaru, like, claiming that he was Emilia's knight or whatever. Now, there's this whole thing of, like, you know what I mean? He stood out there and proclaimed he was a knight. And then Julius came out and says, like, you know, to call yourself a knight is you know what I mean? You must have the same resolve and pride that we do as Imperial Knights. And it's like, well, yeah, you never said that he was an Imperial Knight. You know what I mean? I get that it's like, you know what I mean, like a title of honor. I get that, but like, he never proclaimed that he was an Imperial Knight. So, you know, loophole, workaround for everything. Maybe Julius is just a dick. And that's the thing. Is like, what Julius did, was that exactly knightly behavior? You know what I mean? Oh wow, like, yeah, check me out, guys. I can win against somebody who isn't a knight in a duel. You know what I mean? It's obvious that he just used that whole excuse of him proclaiming himself a knight as like an excuse for him to just beat him up. You know what I mean? And it's like, right, great, nice, well done, mate. Quality. Yeah, you beat up someone weaker than you. That makes that hardly worthy of a knight, I'd say. But whatever the fuck. Yeah, so we had, obviously, you know, Subaru ended up sort of more or less ruining it for Emilia rather than helping. And that sort of goes in line with what she said later on. You know, like, it's a thing, that whole last conversation makes sense coming from Emilia, really. You know, like, when Subaru says that he does it for Emilia, he is on some level doing it for himself. You know, and that can be very much subconscious, like he's not aware of it, but you know, that's the thing, is that he has to know on some level that what you're doing isn't necessarily, because it all comes down to what Subaru wants, right? And what Subaru loves Emilia, right? So for himself, he wants to have Emilia for himself, right? Meaning that everything that he does is to help her in order for her to become like his significant other, right? That's basically, so it's more or less like, how much is he willing to help her for her versus how much he's willing to help her for him. You know what I mean? And I think it's quite obvious when you see it. It's like, yeah, you're kind of, the things that Subaru does, he is doing it more or less not entirely for her, but for his kind of gain. So I totally get it. And obviously it confirms Emilia's thoughts when obviously he blurted out everything in the end, because I mean, well, you could tell he was frustrated with the fact that he couldn't fucking say anything. And he can't say anything, and that's obviously frustrating, because it's frustrating for us as the audience as well. Like, he's not able to say what he wants to say because it doesn't allow him to. And because of that, you know, they blame it on Subaru not being able to say anything, when in reality it's just, no, literally it's impossible, I can't say anything. So, you know, so it does end up fucking it up for him. But like, you know, that whole side of him, you know, being more or less selfish, you know, and because of the fact that he inputs himself, so like, you know, he inserts himself so much into like Emilia's life that it's getting to the point where it's actually affecting, you know what I mean? It's actually affecting like her chances of even becoming like a priestess, because, you know, I mean, who's gonna want to choose someone who they didn't really have anything going for? She didn't have anything really going for her in the first place to the like some of the other ones. You know, they already have prejudice against her because she has some similarities to the witch and whatnot. You know, but then obviously, you know, Subaru comes in and proclaims that he's a knight, and, you know, makes a fucking scene and isn't able to back it up, kind of thing. You know, so the, you know, he makes it completely worse. And at some point he needs to realize that, you know what I mean, like, you need to know when to fucking, you know, not insert yourself all the fucking time, because like, you know, you can tell, like, at that point it's like Amelia's like, fuck's sake, it's like it's getting to a point where it's an annoyance now, you know what I mean? You're not doing anything for me, anything I say you disregard, you know what I mean? And it's like yeah, at some point you've got to learn to fucking stand back and you know, she asked you, she made you promise, and you promised, and you went against the promise immediately, you know? So yeah, the like, to be honest, I totally understand it from like Amelia's point of view. I mean, for the sake of the episode, yes, it would have been boring if he didn't go, but you know, like it. But I understand from a story perspective as to why like Amelia would be pissed off. You know, because I think everything Subaru could have done to avoid that situation, like, he's the one that put himself into that situation, so he kind of deserves the consequence of that. Obviously I get his frustration with the fact that, you know, he can't tell people about the fact that he dies and comes back to life and whatever, but you know, that's got nothing to do with the fact that he uses the excuse that he's doing it for her, for himself, you know. And even if that's subconscious, it's still a selfish act, you know. So I completely understand that. You know, so yeah, it's sort of a self-absorbed thing, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, the whole thing that he's like, you know, I'm sure Amelia got to that point and knew that he was doing it for himself when, you know, she asked him, why did you accept the duel with Julius or whatever, and he said, I did it because he said that I wasn't worthy of being your knight. So he accepted the duel based upon the fact that he wants himself to be worthy enough, you know what I mean? So he's looking for confirmation to himself that he's worthy enough to be Amelia's knight. So in that regard, he's doing it for himself as well. So yeah, it's pretty obvious. Well, I can see why that is the case. And I'm fucking surprised. In these last two episodes, I was fucking positive. I almost guaranteed the fact that he was going to die at some point, and he hasn't died yet. He hasn't died in like the past, how many episodes? Like 5 or something. It's been a while since he's died. So yeah, that's a surprise. But so yeah, I mean, I imagine he's probably going to die next week then. I can see that happening, because I mean, I feel like if he's going, you see, this is an interesting thing, is that, like, as a storytelling perspective, would I rather him try to fix this situation the right way and not do it by killing himself and then redoing everything so it's different, you know what I mean? Because then that's where it's almost like cheating in a way, you know. And I get like it's always going to be cheating because he's able to, like, there's no real consequence because he's able to just die and then redo everything. What would be an interesting consequence is if he got to a point where, like, for instance, right, he's had this whole fallout thing with Amelia, and after he's had that fallout with Amelia, then it saves the game. So every time he dies, it's not like he can go back to before that happened and make sure that he never has that argument with Amelia and whatnot. But the fact that even if he does die, it means that he has to fix that relationship with Amelia the right way, and not just do it by, because in that way, that's what makes the relationship stronger. Is when you get through all of the bullshit. If it's fucking nicey nice all the time, then it doesn't. I feel like your relationship never gets stronger. So I feel like that would be a good way to go, is to have a save point somewhere after this fallout's taken place, and then that way you can sort of work towards it the right way, instead of doing it just to go back in time, back to a previous fucking point, and just not fuck it up for her, But yeah, it's an interesting one. But that is all, so thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord. I urge everyone to go over there, especially if you want me to react to a certain show, because that's where polls and things start. Also, if you just want to come and talk to me in the community, you're free to do that as well. And Patreon. So there's a bunch of different tiers and rewards, depending on how much you want to support me with, if you do. So yeah, for the biggest one, the most popular one, is early access. That's $5 a month. So for that, you get access to all of my reaction shows on Patreon a week early, and you get 4 episodes for every show, as opposed to 2 episodes a week. You actually get 4 episodes a week. So yeah, if you're clamoring for more reactions from me more frequently, you want to get the early access tier on Patreon. $10 a month, that's the full length. So if you want to see my full and edited reactions to all the shows I do, everything I react to gets a full length. So if you want to see the full and edited ones, then that's where you want to go. Exclusive tier, that's $15 a month. So for that, you get access to a bonus show I'm doing, which is currently Parasite, and all OVA reactions and all movie reactions go into the exclusive tier as well. $50 a month, that gives you a choice of a show that you want me to react to, and I will react to it. It'll go at the back of the list, which might take me a while to get round to, because there's about 7 shows in the backlog, so it'll take me a while to get round to it. But if you want to jump the list and go at the very front, then you want to get God tier, which is $100. Those last 2 tiers, the only rules are the show must be 150 episodes or less, and it must be a show that I've never seen before, and they're also cumulative, those last 2 tiers. So obviously with my Patreon being on a pay monthly basis, if you pay for the first month and then get your show on the list, you can just stop paying, just pay that once and get your show on the list. But if you pay the second month, then you get a second choice, and then third month third choice, fourth month fourth choice, so on. So fourth every time you pay, you get a choice of the show. Yeah. So that was all. So thank you everyone for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.